you said the only area you've ever done it was in your biceps and triceps. And my question is why? Why not put it in your calves? Why not put it in the rear delts, front delts, pecs?
I think that's probably, after a period of time of doing it and seeing everything evolve, if you want to call it that, I realized this was ridiculous. If I keep going here, why would I want to continue the ridiculousness somewhere else? You know, I could definitely say, I wanted to continue to bodybuild. I still wanted to compete. But I foresaw it getting out of control. I saw that it becoming too obvious that things were not right. You know what I mean? Like I said earlier, the damage was done already with the arms. Why would I want to continue the craziness on somewhere else? You know, unless I wanted to look like a cartoon character, which, I mean, I'd rather act like a cartoon character than look like a cartoon character, you know?
So at what point did you say, no, I still need more? Because to me it's like outlandish. Like there had to be a point about a year earlier that it could have been plenty. Does it become an addiction?
It is addicting. It's like body
dysmorphia.
Well, it's body dysmorphia, but it's also how when people get piercings or tattoos, you know, like tattoos are very addicting. You're getting one, and while you're getting one done, you were thinking about the other one, the next one, you know. So it became it became an addictive thing at some point, and then it started going too much. And at that point, I didn't see it myself, and I was married at the time. And my ex-wife came to me one day and said, you have to stop. You just have to stop. It's getting out of control. And then that day, it clicked. For whatever reason, that day, I said to myself, I can't do this anymore. This is it. And I literally that day quit. That was 13 years ago. I remember that day like it was yesterday. Because I had a lot of respect for her. She just brought it to me straight up, and I obviously I listened, and it made sense. For whatever reason, it just worked that day.
You know? Now, there's different products out there that you could use. There's painless pumps, there's Synthol, there's pump and pose. Why one as opposed to another? Did you try all of them? Did you?
I only tried, honestly, I tried the pump and pose first came out. That was the most popular one. And then after, with some pretty good success with it, obviously at first, there were some generic ones that came out. And you know, because they were mostly comprised of like MCTs, lidocaine, and silicon, I believe. And then the generic ones came out, and then after using those a few times, I actually realized they weren't that great. I mean, they didn't work that great at all. And then I went back to the pump and pose one, and you could see the difference. So it was really between generic and pump and pose at the time, and those were the only two available ones you could get. They didn't have painless pumps. They didn't have all those other ones that were out. You know, like Boston Lloyd's stuff that was out and all that. There's no availability at the time, and there wasn't really a lot of information or knowledge about the product out there at the time.
So speaking of knowledge, what advice would you give to people who want to do this, who want to, you know, take it that far, or even do it for the first time just a little?
I mean, I've had people in the past, people I don't even know, randomly email me out of nowhere. People text me, I don't even know how they got my phone number, asking me my advice on about taking it. And the best advice I'm going to tell you is don't do it. I'll be honest. I mean, I know I'm sounding, especially if you plan on competing in bodybuilding, I definitely don't recommend ever touching it ever. I don't recommend you touching it ever to begin with, to be honest, because there's no really good that becomes of it. I didn't know at the time until it was too late. If I could go back in time, I certainly would do it differently. I wouldn't have done it. Maybe I would have just stuck to gear only. But I definitely wouldn't do it. And that's the truth. It's the honest about truth. I own up to what I did. Quite honestly, I am what I am, and I don't base my life on my appearance. I base it on my brain. I pride myself on that my whole life. But I mean, I am who I am, and I can't change it. You know, that's all I can say.
Well, I, for one, really appreciate you taking the time because, it bothered me knowing you. And like I said, always 100% gentleman and just a great guy and good at what you do,
Here's the thing, though. I would like to say this, though. I have read some of the comments on there, obviously on the forums and out on the internet. And you go on YouTube and that interview I did years ago with that guy from, I can't remember that magazine, that video that's still out there. Just read all the trolls comments and stuff. Yeah. They say, oh, he's a disgrace to bodybuilding. He's a tool. He's a fool. He's a tool. He has no right to be on stage. I remember one year I was on stage and we were all doing mandatories, and one kid yelled from the audience, nice double synthol.
Yeah.
You hear all that stuff, and you're like, I totally understand them having those comments and all, but when they're basing it on pictures they see online, even this last show, the most unflattering pictures they could find of the show, and they completely disregard 13 years behind that and about the 15 other bodybuilding shows that I've done, all the overalls that I won, all the top threes that I ever won. They completely dismiss all those years of, even up until the show last week, of busting my ass harder than I've ever had in my entire life, and they just throw out the bad comments. So you can't base it on that. I mean, do I just consider myself a disgrace of bodybuilding? Hell no. I've just devoted my entire life to bodybuilding. I've used bodybuilding for my career. I've used it to build my clientele base here. I've used it to acquire the knowledge that I've had over the years of training people for competitions. I've literally lived this life as clean as I possibly can. And I own up to my mistakes.
But you're not going to convince these guys that aren't saying these things. Mm-hmm. Because typically, an adult with a rational mind doesn't just type what comes to mind. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of times I want to say things, and I don't type it because I'm like, what?
Yeah, but see, I've always, speaking for yourself, I've known you for a long time. Ever since I've known you, you've been very straightforward, honest, tell it like it is. Even going back 13 years ago, or even further than that, 15 years ago, you wouldn't be afraid to come right up to my face and tell me I'm a jackass for doing what I was doing. Yeah. It's,
I used to grab his arm and say, what the fuck?
But coming from someone like you, who I highly respect, and I know you're what you've achieved, I mean, I take it with respect, but then when you get comments online from people who, first of all, most of the comments you see online, the negative ones, are from either people who have never competed before, or who have competed before and have done terribly, and so on. Anyone who's ever busted their ass in their entire life to competing would never really go online and shoot out negative comments like that.
Right, because they understand what it takes to get there.
I mean, am I the only one who's used Synthol? No. Hell no. I mean, but I definitely do not advise for anyone to use it. But I'm not the only one.
No.
It's
I get comments of how awful my gut is after having a huge meal and not sucking it in during an interview. Now, I could sit here like this and do an entire interview, but I would look like a jackass. I'm comfortable. I'm going to sit comfortably, let it hang out. When I'm on stage pulling a vacuum, That's all that matters to me. You know, you're gonna sit there, bubble gut this and bubble gut that. Listen, I'm 5 feet tall and 5 feet wide. You can only fit 10 pounds in a 10-pound bag of shit. You know, I get 12 pounds in a 10-pound bag of shit. I'm sorry, something's gonna come out. So you can't listen to these guys.
No, you can't.
But I wanted to do this so we could get it out there and just give a little insight into what you've done, who you are, and you know, if even one person decides not to do the synthol, that's good. It's a win.
Yeah.
If even one person reconsiders writing something stupid, good. It's a win. If not, it's entertaining. You got to see the circus freak here. You know, speaking of which, let's hit a couple shots so they can see what that craziness looks like. Look at that. Have you measured them? How big is this?
I think that the biggest were like 23.
23.
But now they're down to like 20, 21. You know, I don't know. Who's measure? I don't even measure anymore. You know, I mean, when I was around 227, they were like 23, and now I'm only like 22 pounds up from the show. They're maybe like 20, 21.
All right,
Yeah,
so
that's about it.
are there any other upcoming shows that you're gonna do?
No, that's it, man. That was my last one last week. That was my last
Until
one.
you reconsider. Yeah. I know how many
You know,
times.
maybe when I'm 60, when I'm turning 60, you know, because there was a guy at the show last week who was 63.
Yeah, you look good.
He
You're
looked
shredded.
pretty good.
Yeah.
So, you know, that might be me. I might be that guy that comes out of nowhere. Maybe by the time I'm 60, my arms will look somewhat normal.
Now, if you want, if someone wants to reach you, you have an email, or if they have questions, if they want contest prep, if they want a personal trainer.
Yeah, then you could go on my website, which is Blais Bodies, BLAZE BODYZ Blais Bodies @outlook.com. That's my email. You can just email me there, and I'll get right back to you. I mean, I have another email, but it's too confusing.
That one was pretty confusing too.
That's all right.
But if you want to reach them, reach out to Blais Bodies.
Blais Bodies @outlook.com.
And you know, again, thank you very much.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, no one's ever come forward to allow me to, especially a really large audience. And I appreciate you coming all the way up here and talking to me. I have much respect for you for that.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Alright, this is the Boston Mass. Thanks again for watching. Now, if you're not subscribing, subscribe now. Tell all your friends to subscribe. If you haven't, do it now. Alright?